We can't value only what is easy to measure. Measurable outcomes may be the least important results of learning. Alfie Kohn. My name is Robert Thomas Wilson. I am a student in the Notre Dame University of Maryland course. I am also a teacher at the Harbor School. I am a Jamaican American male, and I am a theater major, Africana Studies minor from Muhlenberg College. I'm here to talk about the four primary theories that have influenced my thinking over this course. I would like to start with Gregoric. Gregoric learning style model, the mind style and style delineator. He was a gentleman that did a phenomenological study. So there was lots of research, and he studied people's distinctive behavior. The behavior that he saw to be effective and to be the root of different learning styles. He broke it down into four learning styles. There was concrete sequential, concrete random, abstract sequential, and abstract random. So basically these four styles were everybody's learning style. You could stretch in any one degree or in any one way within these styles, but you have a natural style that you are inherently more prone to. So these mind qualities, and this is a quote from Anthony Gregoric, these mind qualities serve as mediators as we learn from and act upon our environment. They are vital to our survival in the three-dimensional world. That quote really stuck with me. Vital to our survival. It seemed like the stakes were so high for this man. He spent decades upon decades studying and learning and trying to come up with something that everybody can use in order to make the learning process that much better. But it wasn't just about learning in the classroom. It was about how we learn as people and individuals. So to have an understanding of how I learned and where I came from in the past, and then to reform it and rethink it with his mind style theory, it made a lot of things make sense. For each mind style, there are natural abilities and things that are difficult. By Gregoric standards, I'm a CR, AR, so that is concrete random, abstract random. I'm a very random person altogether. I like experimenting. I like being hands-on. I'm an artist, so I like to think, I like to dream, I like to investigate why. In courses such as math, I had a very hard time with it. Not because I didn't understand math. Math came easy to me as I was younger. It was patterns, it was a game, it was something to solve. But as I got older, I started to ask the question why. I started to wonder why it is these things exist and why we choose to quantify or measure the things the way we do. So many of the educators that I had, I think would fall into the concrete sequential, abstract sequential realm. They loved to debate, they loved to organize, they loved practical and objective ways of thinking. And while I never faulted them for their natural learning style, I was always in a constant stretch. I was always stressed, and I was out of my element. Somewhere along the line, I discovered theater arts. I think it was somewhere in middle school. I was taking a class. It was offered to me, and I said, wow, I get to just play around and be silly for an entire period. This is the best class I've ever had. Where it was my brain break. It was my time throughout the day to just sit and stand and move. Little did I know that I was interacting with another type of learning style. I was interacting with multiple intelligences. I was dabbling in multiple intelligences. I was interacting with the linguistic, the speech on the page. I was speaking, I was learning how to articulate, I was learning how words worked. I was interacting with the spatial, I was moving in and out of space, I was creating spatial pictures and tableaus. I was interacting with the body kinesthetic, the musical aspects, the intrapersonal, the interpersonal. And while I highly doubt that my theater professor, no flack or shame to him, was aware that we were interacting with these styles, he was trying to make us better actors, but I think this made me a better person. Something in me was ignited. I was able to use my natural CR and AR styles in this black space, this black box, this open canvas, and I was able to create. And I started to understand what Gregoric really meant by understanding how to exist and coexist in a three-dimensional world. It was about survival. It was about interacting with real people. It was about seeing other people. Which brings me to the emotional intelligence aspect that I learned from theater. I became more empathetic. I remember we had something called an emotional recall, where we all sat in a circle and we shared with each other moments in our life that we were touched to the point of crying. And I remember this exercise where we all got to share a moment in time where we felt the most vulnerable. And this course in school provided us with a space to do that. It provided us with an opportunity to really share and open up. And I got to see how other people interacted with each other and how we were all empathetic, we were all sympathetic. We all felt and were there to pick each other up in our moments of vulnerability. So it was a very real and very genuine moment in time. And it stuck with me ever since. And I didn't understand it to be emotional intelligence, but I understood it as something that I needed if I was going to move on and if I wanted to progress in life. I needed to see people. I needed to realize that they have emotions, that there are things that they deal with on a day-to-day basis that I may not see on the surface, but I need to be understanding of that. And I need to, I need to try my best to understand how it is that I feel on the inside and articulate that the best way I can. And this all sort of comes to a head. I spoke a little bit about my background. I'm Jamaican American. The last theory that I loved was culturally relevant pedagogy. So CRP, not just because, I'm an African American teacher, but because I lived and experienced life as an African American student. The measurable variables of race in this country, they're very deceiving. There are certain things that if you look at the statistics, they don't tell the full story. And it's important for me to understand, and as an Africana Studies minor, it was my first time understanding my own heritage and my own lineage and my own part as a member of my race in this country. And to be able to see another side of the story told, to be able to see and understand that history was very important for me because I was able to identify in a way that I hadn't previously in education. All of these things, I don't mean to preference anyone over the other, but all of these things made me who I am today as an educator and as a learner. So I encourage all educators and learners to ask themselves the tough W questions, what we are, where we are, why we are, where we came from, where are we going, who we are because of it, and who we want to be. What can we do to change the world around us? So all of these theories I naturally gravitate towards, but they're not the only ones in my tool belt. Everything I've learned in this class will help me with my growth and development as a teacher and a person. And these are just things to implement. These aren't just things to implement. These are lenses in which I view my life now, and I wouldn't be the same without it.